The following program is the work of the broadcast students of the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, hundreds are displaced by a massive apartment fire in White Rock.
We meet BCIT's newly elected student body president.
And a Syrian family has finally found a new home.
Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Nicole Chenard.
And I'm Jordan Parhar.
A 3-alarm fire tore through a White Rock apartment building on Sunday morning, leaving over 100 people homeless. Johnny Smart has the details on what will happen next for the evacuees.
The people living in these suites were woken up around 5:30 on Sunday morning to the sound of fire alarms and the thick smell of smoke. Luckily, all of the occupants made it out safely before the upper floor was completely engulfed. The investigation is still in its early stages, and firefighters don't know the cause of the blaze.
Our investigation is just beginning, so we have nothing in that regards right now. We're looking to turn the building back over to the strata and insurance within the next 24 hours.
Fire crews will be going into the building to retrieve some basic necessities, but no one will be let back in for quite some time.
The building's had extensive damage. It will be a period of time, but until they have engineers go in and look at the integrity of the building and make determinations, yeah, it'll be a period of time.
In the meantime, evacuees have been staying at the Centennial Arena nearby until they can find accommodation.
I think they've got a couple of days where either in a hotel or some other temporary accommodation. Some of them have been fortunate enough to have family and friends around who are able to help put them up. But as a longer term process, they're probably going to have to find another accommodation for probably in the order of a year and a half.
Mayor Baldwin was proud of the response from the community, which included food and clothing donations, as well as pet supplies and money.
The community really rose to the challenge and showed its true colors, which were really quite wonderful.
The fire has been completely put out, but so much water was pumped onto it that water pressure dropped in the entire city, and a boil advisory remains in effect. Johnny Smart in White Rock for BCIT Magazine.
The Fort McMurray fire and the hardworking crews risking their lives to put it out have captured worldwide attention. Our reporter Lido House takes a look at some individuals signing up for such a career.
When the siren wails, firefighters answer. These new recruits are going through grueling training to join the fight. Senior officers know how hard the battle can be.
This one's pretty controlled too. Things can be very stressful at times. We have to deal with things that most people shouldn't have to see ever. And again, we've signed up for it, so that's what we do to help the public.
And they deal with that stress by leaning on each other.
We work together as a team, and that makes everything better because the bonding is good and we take care of each other.
With portions of the province already looking like this, these trainees need to be ready for whatever comes. Each one has their own reasons for signing up.
When I got in my car accident in October, I was stuck in bed for 2 months, and I spent that time sort of looking at my life and wondering where it was going. And it became really important that I do something that mattered. And what matters more than helping people, right?
These trainees have only 6 weeks to go before they have a chance to find out what their new careers are really about. Lido House, Maple Ridge, BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Tristan Woodhouse has an update on the status of fires in BC. Tristan, do we have any idea when things will be back to normal for the people of White Rock?
Well, earlier this week, the water boil advisory was lifted. However, the residents of the apartment building will not be able to return for another year due to structural damage from the fire. Now, we don't know what caused the fire yet, but police are investigating.
And how are crews responding to fires across the province?
There are currently 30 wildfires active in BC, so crews are stretched pretty thin. As we saw in Lito's story, crews are being trained to quarantine fires before they can spread. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case yet with the Siphon Creek Road wildfire, which is over 56,000 hectares. It's currently the largest fire in BC. Back to you.
Thanks, Tristan. Premier Rachel Notley gave a press conference on Wednesday in Fort McMurray. She announced that residents of the area will be able to return to their homes as soon as June 1st. 80,000 residents were displaced because of this fire.
The BCIT Student Association has conducted their elections. Robin Crawford introduces us to the new BCIT President and explores the shockingly low voter turnout.
The halls of BCIT are starting to wind down as students get ready for the long-awaited summer months ahead. But for one student, his work is just getting started.
I know that Thrive is a community program run by
Matthew May is the new BCIT Student Association president. He will be moving into his new office in the next few weeks and is eager to get to work. But most students on campus don't know his name and didn't cast a vote.
Well, approximately around 800 people voted, at least for president and the other vice president positions. So that's, can't do the math, but we have about 50,000 students that could have voted. So it's like maybe 2%.
The Student Association president gets a $700 paycheck each month that comes straight out of student tuition. So why don't students take advantage of their right to vote?
So I didn't vote, so is that like a bad thing?
I didn't have the time.
I did vote. I honestly didn't know anyone's campaign, so I was kind of confused by everything and I didn't want to vote on something that I wasn't going to be agreeing with.
And she asked for my vote, so I voted for her.
Only a tiny fraction of the 50,000 eligible students voted in this year's election. That means less than 1.6% of students cast a ballot for who would be their next president. May believes that students' busy schedules may be partly to blame.
BCIT is quite unique in that their full-time programs are really full-time courses as opposed to other universities where full-time course load is like 3 or 4 courses. BCIT is almost double that in some cases. So they don't really have a whole lot of time and they're kind of focused on their school and then they leave.
With a brand new group of executives moving in, May believes that enhancing student participation is an important task on his list of presidential duties. Robin Crawford for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, what you need to know before setting sail this summer.
A local farmer grows his crops without soil.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
A Syrian family has found a new home after 2 months of an unbearable wait. Aziz Hajari reports.
It's the beginning of a new life for this family. Faize and her children had to flee the war in Syria to find refuge in Canada. The journey started from Syria to Jordan, eventually ending here in BC.
We came here because we were scared. We couldn't stay there. We had no other choice but to escape.
2 of Faize's children, Mehe and Hudeh, have neurogenic atrophy. The disorder leaves them paralyzed below the neck. When they originally came to BC, the family had to stay in this motel that was not wheelchair accessible.
They told us we had priority because of our disability. We needed a house that was wheelchair accessible, with a spacious bathroom because we can't move. The motel was hard for us, but we also understood it wasn't going to be easy for them to find a home that would be perfect for us.
Hatem is Faiza's 19-year-old son. He hasn't been to school for over a year. The devastation he witnessed in his home country still haunts him.
It was a disaster. There were many bombers and many dead families. I was terrified that something would happen to us, to my mother and sisters. My life has stood at a standstill since then. I can't tell you about my future. I don't see it yet.
Hatem and his family are still optimistic. They are extremely grateful towards Canadians.
Canadians were nice to us. They welcomed us. They cannot be compared to anyone else. They respect you and sympathize with you. They help you in any way they can.
It will take some time before the family adjusts to life here. However, that isn't stopping them from enjoying the beauty of Canada. Hatem and his family are relieved now that they finally found a place they can call home. Today marks the first day of a long journey towards rebuilding their future. Aziz Hajari, Burnaby, BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Aziz Hajari is joining us live. Aziz, can you tell us what's next for this family?
Well, the priority right now is to find appropriate medical services for the two daughters. Their health is not improving, and the family just can't move forward until they find treatment. Their second priority is learning English, because they only speak Arabic. We're talking about a family that is going through a lot of obstacles, but from what I understood when speaking with them, their main concern are the two daughters.
Do all Syrian families face similar troubles in BC?
Well, I spoke to BCMA's Vice President Shaukat Hassan, and he told me that more than 100 Syrian refugees were stuck in motels and temporary houses. However, he also mentioned that many Canadians have approached him to provide help or to sponsor refugees. So all in all, they're not alone. Back to you.
Thanks, Aziz. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has issued a formal apology for the Kamagata Maru incident. A century ago, Canada turned away a ship carrying hundreds of refugees from India. In an apology, Trudeau acknowledges his country's refusal to admit the asylum seekers.
Safe Boating Week is almost upon us. Coey Taylor has a few key safety tips from local boating experts that go beyond the basics.
With the recent increase in temperatures and number of sunny days, Blue Pacific Yacht Charters is readying their masts. A local boat racer and Blue Pacific employee says there is a lot more to boat safety than just wearing a life jacket.
You know, I'd check every system before you go out. The biggest issue is you get out there, you know, all you need is your engine to get off the dock and your steering.
BC Hydro operates dams in 16 waterways. The company ensures those who hit the water this summer have the right information to stay safe.
What we can suggest is for members of the public to look at the weather forecast prior to heading out. Water levels and flows can change at a moment's notice, so it's best to know the conditions before you head out.
Connor says Blue Pacific makes sure their customers are well qualified to operate vessels.
So someone needs to send in their boater's resume to us before they can even be approved to rent the boat. Once that gets approved, we bring them in, they come down and check out the boat, and we talk to them. Before they leave the dock, they have to watch our navigation briefing, which talks about the coastal waters and the risks and dangers associated with those. And then once they've done that and they do the orientation with us, we sign off and we send them out on their way.
Safe Boating Week begins on May 21st and runs until the 27th. In addition to helping local boaters, Connor prepares to represent Canada in this year's World Championships in France. Coey Taylor in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Now, we are used to seeing plants growing in fields from the ground up, but a local farmer is using a new technique. My co-anchor Jordan Parhar looks at vertical farming.
Every morning, Ethan O'Brien of Living Garden Foods checks on his various plants. O'Brien produces tons of vegetables above ground through vertical farming. He uses zip grow towers, which are tiny structures that can hold up to 80 pounds worth of veggies. These towers are lined up in rows in what are called farm walls. O'Brien says the method is both self-watering and sustainable.
With the farm wall,
It has a self-contained gutter, so we capture all the water in the bottom gutter system. It's then pumped up to the top, and then trickle feeds down through each of the towers and recaptures in the bottom. And so it's a self-recycling hydroponic system that uses 90% less water than traditional soil agriculture.
O'Brien and his business partner, Cole Cedar, are trying to spread the word to other farmers because the method is eco-friendly. Sometimes they run into problems, though. Cedar says people get confused when they hear the towers don't use soil, but he says it's quite simple.
So we have matrix media, and this takes the place of soil. And the roots just map themselves in here and get all their nutrients from the water. It's nothing different than soil. Soil just has the nutrients and it anchors the plants. This is our anchor.
Vertical farming is still fresh, just like this lettuce, which could lead to some challenges in the near future. O'Brien says, however, that he expects things to pick up this summer with the dry weather and water restrictions. Jordan Parhar in Langley for BCIT Magazine.
Vancouver has issued the first business license to one of the city's many marijuana dispensaries. As a part of the process, background checks were conducted on all staff. There are still 61 shops operating illegally around the city.
The number of microbreweries in Vancouver has grown over the past few years as popularity for craft beer has increased in the region. Hannah Mae Nassar explores the main problems new businesses face when trying to enter the market.
Maurizio Lozano is preparing for the grand opening of his new business. Faculty Brewing Company has been in the works for over a year now, and Lozano says it's been a long, challenging road.
The biggest issue has been that our bureaucracies, in this case BC Hydro, in this case the City of Vancouver, are way understaffed. And I mean, I'm not blaming the person helping me. They're doing their best work and they're trying to do it. It's just they're so busy with so many extra projects that you just get on a queue and you wait.
Lozano waited over 9 months for a building permit. That's 9 months he spent paying rent for a space he couldn't use. He isn't the only brewer facing this kind of problem.
We have not received our building permits yet, so we're just waiting to hear back from the city that our building permit has been approved, and once that happens, then the hammer comes down and we start full construction.
Andina was supposed to be open almost 2 months ago, but now it's looking like they'll have to wait until next fall. Amaya agrees the process needs to change.
It just takes way too long from the city to give us permits. First you submit for your demo permit, and then you submit for your construction permit, and then you submit for building permit, and then you wait for feedback from them, which usually takes them about 3 or 4 weeks for them to give you their first thoughts on how the permit is going. So, and then after that, it's just a waiting game, just waiting.
According to a 2015 Deloitte food and beverage study, BC's craft beer market has grown by about 30% a year for the past 3 years.
With the number of breweries growing in Vancouver, owners and brewmasters like Maurizio here at Faculty hope that new legislation will help newer breweries tap into the market. Hannah Mae Nassar in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, a local woman explores an ancient way to relax.
And Vancouver's bird scene is taking off.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program's offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, realizing your potential.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action, or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
Craft brews from across BC were on tap in Port Moody for the annual search for a perfect pint. Tristan Woodhouse has the story.
Even though the event is a decade old, Port Moody's search for a perfect pint looks no worse for wear. In fact, it may have even improved with age. This is largely due to Port Moody's burgeoning craft beer scene, which has become a staple for the city over the past 4 years. A trip to Rocky Point Park will take you past 4 different breweries: Twin Sails, Yellow Dog, Moody Ales, and the newest arrival, Parkside. Ticket holders will be sampling the best of the local flavor at the event, along with selections from breweries across the Lower Mainland and beyond. Hosted at the Port Moody City Hall, all proceeds from the search will go towards charitable initiatives within the community. According to organizers from the Port Moody Rotary Club, the event has come a long way.
Our first few years we actually had troubles getting people to come because there wasn't that many to choose from. It's mostly just local craft breweries, all have great supplies and quite a variety, and we actually had no trouble getting 19 breweries.
And with Port Moody now looking more inviting to upstart brewers, established breweries might be lost in the shuffle. However, Cody Ullman, who founded Twin Sails Brewing with his brother Clay, says any new competitors are welcome to join the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, we have a huge following in town. People love our stuff. They love everybody's stuff in town. It's been great so far. A lot of community support. So I think there's definitely going to be some buzz going around the locals tables tonight. But I think we're all here to do the same thing, and everybody's here to try all the beers. I don't think anybody's going to try our stuff over everybody else. That's the one great thing about this craft beer scene right now is everybody's here being friends, not competing.
And if the search for the perfect pint is any indication, the glasses in Port Moody won't be empty anytime soon. Tristan Woodhouse in Port Moody for BCIT Magazine.
A woman known as the Labyrinth Lady created an outdoor pathway to help individuals cope with stress. Nicole Chu has more on this ancient meditation tool.
This formation of rocks does more than it seems. As this woman walks through this pathway, she uses an ancient meditation technique to de-stress and gain mental clarity.
You just follow the path, and it has a switchback. It goes, this one at Fleetwood Park, takes you to the left first, then it takes you to the right, and it takes you back to the left, and then you get into the center. So the center is a place of stillness, a space of calm. It's about who you are. It helps you to get in touch with that.
According to research, meditation changes brain activity. Fast thinking and reasoning beta waves become slower, relaxed alpha waves and then turn into even slower theta waves. This is the stage where deep relaxation occurs. Some Labyrinth users prefer this mobile meditation.
Well, it makes me much more centered and peaceful, and also I have time to reflect on what I'm doing.
Labyrinth use dates back to ancient Greece and Egypt, but Ing believes the pathways still serve a vital role.
Anyone today needs some sort of tool to be effective in our really modern and chaotic and overly busy world.
For that busy world, Ing has created a portable labyrinth.
So these are my wooden finger labyrinths to serve a clientele who came and told me, what do I do on the days that I can't go to the labyrinth and walk it?
Her passion for this practice has earned her a fitting name.
I'm in the community quite often, and when I go to various groups, they would say, aren't you the Labyrinth Lady? And I remember hearing that, and I go, oh, I'm not, oh, it's kind of interesting.
The Labyrinth Lady hopes to one day see labyrinths in every hospital and school. Nicole Chu in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
Vancouver will be filled with birders as the city hosts a historic bird event. Our reporter Matt Humphrey speaks to bird enthusiasts about why they love our airborne friends.
You hear them every day. Vancouver has thousands of birds, and in 2018, it will have thousands of bird watchers. That's when Vancouver is hosting the International Ornithological Congress, or IOC.
Oh, there we go. There's a red-winged blackbird. See the red on its wings? They're a really special bird.
Dan Straker has been working with birds for years. He was instrumental in Vancouver implementing a bird-friendly strategy last year. This, and events like Bird Week, have turned the city into a world-class place for birding. With thousands coming here for their love of birds, he says the event will help generate millions of dollars of revenue for the city.
It's a really big deal. Birding is a big deal worldwide. There's a lot of secret birders out there that you just don't know, but yeah, it'll mean thousands of people coming to Vancouver, lots of tourists, and a lot of interest will probably come from it.
And what they'll see: crows, jays, robins, even hummingbirds, shown here at the UBC Museum. But one species will be absent, the myna bird, which hasn't been here since 2003. It was pushed out of its habitat by starlings.
What becomes challenging are birds that depend on specific environments like old-growth forests or really large expanses of prairie. So those particular birds are dwindling in numbers.
Ballston appreciates Bird Week because it heightens people's awareness through events like this show and tell.
Northwestern crow.
Birding is one of the fastest growing hobbies in North America. Straker suggests there is a birder in all of us.
I think it's because it really is an easy connection for people to just pick up a pair of binoculars. They can go to a park, they can go almost anywhere in their city. So it really gives you a connection to nature no matter where you are.
So when thousands of birders flock to Vancouver in 2018, the birds will be waiting. Matt Humphrey in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A U.S. woman has won $429 million in the Powerball. Pearlie Mae Smith says that 10% of her winnings will go to the church because her winning numbers came to her in a dream sent by God.
If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca.
I'm Nicole Chenard.
And I'm Jordan Parhar. Thanks for joining us. That was this week's BCIT Magazine. We now leave you with a look at Sue Spencer from Delta as she trains for the 2017 World Masters Games. We wish you the best of luck, Sue.